As the effects of the gas wore off and they began to wake up, they were equally frightened and angry. Once they reacted and could think clearly about their situation, they realized they were screwed, having no way to break or open the chains that kept them immobile. As the hours passed, they grew bored and started talking nonsense until Zello said, "But who did this to us?" This stopped the laughter and nonsense they had been indulging in, leading them to the conclusion that they hadn't asked the important questions. After pondering this, without finding an answer, they saw the members of the band Monsta X enter the room where they were held, who mockingly greeted them with, "Good morning, princesses. Did you sleep well?" The boys chose silence over falling for the provocation. The leader, Hyunwoo, approached Youngjae, grabbed his chin to make him look up, and told him to abandon his zone and his work, handing it over to him. Upon hearing such a request, Youngjae spat in his face and told him he wouldn't believe it even if he were dead. In response to this act of hostility, Hyunwoo punched him in the left cheek and warned them that they would remain in this state, without any sustenance, until they changed their minds. After this encounter, they realized they needed to act quickly. Having been there for 2 days, they memorized the guards' routine effortlessly, noting that they had a 15-minute break during which they were completely alone. On the 3rd day of their confinement, they discussed devising a plan to escape. They would pretend that one of them needed help to be freed from his restraints, stealing the keys and knocking out the guard afterward. They agreed that Zello would act as bait since he had a collar around his neck, and the next day they would put their plan into action. The 4th day arrived, and they set it in motion after the break. Youngjae signaled for the act to begin. Zello pretended to be choking, and the others shouted alarms, exaggerating their concern until the guard released Zello, and that's when the action began. Zello discreetly took the keys after knocking the guard to the ground, and tossed them to the others to free themselves while he fought off the others. Once the first part was accomplished, the hardest part remained, getting out of the place alive. Just as they were almost reaching the exit while being chased, Youngjae stumbled and fell, losing his advantage, leaving the others to decide whether to escape without him or risk saving him and getting caught again. Youngjae, as the leader, forced them to leave while assuring him with shouts that he would come back for him. 10 minutes later, they left the area, and once in an alley, they stopped to catch their breath while thinking about how to deal with the problem. 3 days after the incident, a group of Monsta X members passed by the entrance of their base, and upon seeing Jong up at the entrance, they hit him with a bat. When Youngjae came to help him, they threw a USB drive at them and told them to watch it. Everything made sense when the group gathered on a sofa and plugged the drive into one of their computers. They played a 3-minute video showing 2 of the band's superiors punching Youngjae in the face and then pulling his head back to hang a sign. The sign had the amount of 10 million euros, implying that they were demanding that amount or they would kill him. At the end of the video, a time, place, and day appeared for them to comply with their demand. Seeing this, the boys began to devise a way to obtain that amount of money they didn't have, thus saving the life of their missing member. When they brainstormed, none of the ideas convinced them until the radio nearby announced a truck carrying 50 million euros. Thus, their objective would be to steal the requested amount. For this, Youngjae and Zello went to study the truck's route. Daehoon and Jongup went together to get weapons, just in case they were needed, and Himchon repaired one of the cars they had already stolen. In one scenario, the cars would position themselves in front and behind the vehicle, blocking its passage. Once this was done, they would force the occupants out of the vehicle to steal the keys, allowing them to take the money before fleeing. The plan was executed successfully. Now all that remained was to deliver the money and rescue their friend. 2 days later, the meeting was set according to the video, and they would meet at an abandoned train station. The time was 11 in the morning, but they arrived at 10 to scout the area and gain any advantage if necessary. As the clock struck 11, the other gang appeared, with Youngjae being held by 2 men, struggling to walk due to his injuries. Hyunwoo, The leader asked them about the money, and they replied that they had it in the briefcase Youngjae was holding. After handing it over and the gang counting the amount to ensure nothing was missing, they released Youngjae. As he reached his leader, he embraced him, but when he pulled away, he showed a police badge. At the command, which no one understood, a unit of the SWAT team suddenly appeared and arrested both gangs. Youngjae, furious, wanted to go after him, but one of the officers stopped him, leaving him with no choice but to watch as the officer ascended the stairs. Everything went perfectly according to the deal between the police and Youngjae, as he had carried a hidden microphone in his clothing as requested. Now, he would finally have his long-desired freedom and the chance to start a new life from scratch.